Everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live's ratings, and I wanted to get into that and some other stuff regarding, I guess, the future of The Ones Who Live, because there's been a lot of stuff that has come out over the last day or so I want to get into all of that here. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I apologize for not posting a video yesterday. Yesterday was actually my daughter's birthday, so I just, I focused on that and whatnot, but I do want to do this video. I do have a lot of other videos planned here. I will get to the Q&A video as well. There's a couple more things I want to talk about with episode 1, but I really do want to focus on episode 2. That episode is airing in 3 days, and yeah, I'm just very excited about it. So definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like that. But let's actually get into this here. Let's get into what I wanted to talk about. So the ratings here for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live is, at least for the first episode, is 896,000. Now, I know that is overall going to seem very low compared to season 5 of The Walking Dead, where they're at 16 or 15 to 17 million viewers, right? But you just got to remember, back then there was no streaming services, right? I think everyone right now watches on AMC Plus, right? This is only US viewers, which back then they were sort of only including that really as well. Just remember, that is a lot back then. Remember, people only watched on cable, and that is The Walking Dead at its peak. No show, as soon as it hits a peak like that, is never going to maintain that. And honestly, for shows in general, there's not a lot of shows that ever get that many viewers. There's really not a lot at all. So I just think, people always saying are they ever gonna, match that again or whatever? They will never ever match that again, because not a lot of shows even do that. You more have to look at, just the shows that are around right now and just currently what they're doing right now, and just sort of focus on that here. So for comparison, Daryl Dixon and Dead City, they're I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know Daryl Dixon's premiere had 631,000 or something. And then Dead City, I think it was 701 or 700,000. It was something like that. So the Ones Who Live is definitely a much bigger show in terms of just the viewership and all that. A much bigger show, and I guess to critics as well, it's a much better show. It's way better reviewed than the other two shows. And you got to remember as well, this is just US viewers, and this is just on cable. So that's such a big part to this. AMC, I'm not entirely sure what the numbers are, but I remember it being around 11 million subscribers they have for AMC Plus. Maybe it's more. It could be more, but I remember that being a number that was thrown around a couple years ago. I remember when. So I think most people get AMC Plus for The Walking Dead. There's probably other shows, obviously, people will get it for other reasons, but I think most people, I would say, get it for The Walking Dead. I do a lot of the other shows, there's that drive-in show that they always do. I do like that. I like Creep Show and whatnot, but The Walking Dead definitely is such a big reason why I do have AMC Plus, just because obviously it's my favorite show in the world, right? So I don't know what the numbers are in terms of that, but I do imagine they're in the millions for sure that are watching this. I don't know if it's 10 million, probably not. I don't know if it's 5 million or if it's a million. I have no idea. All I know is that obviously it is very successful for AMC Plus, because Daryl Dixon and Dead City were breaking records, and they seem to be very happy with that. And The Ones Who Live, I think, is actually, if anything, going to be a bigger show. And so you look at the ratings here, I think that's honestly that's incredible. It's honestly really awesome to see. I know people were expecting it to be 1 million, 2 million viewers, but I just don't think that's not really a thing anymore with cable. Who do you know that has cable? Honestly, for me, I don't know anyone that has cable, really. I think most people watch with streaming services now, because it's very, very simple. You're not, I don't know, I got rid of my cable a little over a year ago, but I know I was even late when I did that, right? And so I don't know, I don't have cable. I've always just watched with AMC Plus once it was available, and I just don't see a lot of people watching The Walking Dead on cable. I've never really seen it a lot, and I even did a little poll or whatever just on Twitter or X or whatever. I asked you guys, I said, how do you watch The Walking Dead? And 82%, 82.1% said AMC Plus, and then there was 17.9% that said AMC cable, which I was just, first of all, shocked by. But I mean, even going based off of that, if you took that as that was an accurate, example of who watches on AMC Plus and who watches on AMC cable, that would mean that 20% at least of people that are watching The Walking Dead watch it on cable still, and the other 80% watch on AMC Plus, which would mean that I guess 5 million people are overall still watching The Walking Dead, which is, I guess, obviously a little bit higher than their season 9 numbers, if you were able to compare that, which obviously you really can't. So we don't know what the numbers are for AMC Plus, but they are definitely much higher. The point is, this show is very successful. Like, The Ones Who Live is very successful. And again, like, if you look at The Last of Us, it had like 500,000 viewers for its premiere episode. It did build up to about 1 million by the finale, but The Ones Who Live already beat that, right? Like, so that's, you know, and you gotta remember too, with The Last of Us, there's also like HBO Max and all of that, right? Like, that's how most people were watching, was with that, you know? So it is overall, like, it's very different, and the ratings here can tell us a little bit, but that's why I just kind of look at the number and I look at the shows around them now. You can't compare it to like previous numbers because those numbers don't exist anymore. So, you know, 896,000 is a lot, like 0.896 million or whatever. That is a lot in terms of, you know, all the shows that are around. And I believe that it was like the number 3 show, I think, on Sunday night behind like basketball, and I think it was like 90 Day Fiance or something like that. So like, you know, so like to me, The Walking Dead is very successful. Like, if you're comparing The Walking Dead to like random shows on like, I don't know, just like other channels and stuff, like, it's obviously more successful than that, right? So I think that's just important to remember with all of this, is that there's a reason why AMC is still doing The Walking Dead. People act like The Walking Dead is like, you know, it's old news and all of that. It really isn't. And I will say that argument has actually been going away. Ever since the premiere episode, everyone is like loving The Walking Dead again. Like, it's so interesting to see. People in the comments aren't saying, it's whatever, this and that. Like, people are actually very interested in The Walking Dead again. So it's really awesome to see. You know, we've been here the entire time and we knew how amazing this show, this whole thing could be. So just to see it, it's really awesome, to be honest. And I also wanted to get into one other thing here that I found very, very interesting. So I don't know if this is like true or not, because I can't really verify it because I never actually got selected to do the poll or whatever, or I guess the survey, but AMC apparently, and this was somebody in the Discord actually posted this. So first of all, thank you for making me aware of this, but apparently AMC was doing I guess a poll of some kind, or survey. I keep saying poll, but it's a survey. See, I guess, how people are viewing The Ones Who Live. Like, how many seasons do you think The Ones Who Live is going to be? And it's really interesting. So it says, to the best of your knowledge, how many seasons will The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live have? And there's 3 options. So the first one, it will be a regular series with 3+ seasons. Second option, it will be a limited series with just 1 or 2 seasons. And then the third option is not sure. So first of all, there is a lot to read into this here. I'll get into the first couple of things here. So one, it's referring to a limited series as being 1 or 2 seasons. And so that I just find very interesting. Obviously, there's still the option of a limited series being 1 season, but the fact that, you know, there are options here of how you view The Ones Who Live is either 3+ or 1 or 2, or like you're just not sure. So I just, that's very interesting to me. And I still, like, I really do think, because of how open Gimple is, Denai said that one thing last year or whatever, where she said, let's see where this lands. Andrew Lincoln seems open. He's kind of joking around about stuff, and based off of the early reviews and some of the pacing and all that, I know the pacing in the first episode was very fast, but it's because they had to get through so much information to explain what Rick's been doing the entire time, right? We all knew that was going to happen. Like, they had to get through a lot of that. In episode 2, they're probably going to do the same thing for Michonne, but it's going to slow down quite a bit in the next couple of episodes here. So, and the reason why is because they want to have Rick and Michonne together. That was one thing that I actually saw in an interview where they talked about, you know, having them together in the very first episode. Like, it was very important because, you know, the fun about having Rick and Michonne together is, once they're together after all this time, now what, you know, comes of them, kind of thing, right? Because there's going to be a lot there with those characters. Like, they're different people now. Do things still work the same? How are things going to work overall? And so there's some issues there, this and that. And I know episode 4 is supposed to be a really big one, so I'm really excited about that. But getting back to this here, it's really interesting that AMC is like, you know, putting out surveys for fans to see, you know, how they're sort of viewing everything here. So the reason why this is interesting is because they did the same thing with Fear the Walking Dead all the way back before Madison's return. I think it was a year before Madison's return. They asked the question, why are you still watching Fear the Walking Dead? It was something like that anyways. And there was a bunch of options, but one of the options was to see if Madison returns or something like like that, or to see the fate of Madison. It was like something like that. It was basically just, it was a reference to Madison, and her coming back kind of thing. So a year later or something like that, all of a sudden she shows up in the season 7 finale. It was like, I think it was towards the end of season 6. It was around there. I think that survey went out, and then she was back in the show a year later, right, for the finale. So it's just very interesting because they're doing a survey like this. And again, I'm assuming this is real. There's no way that this is fake or anything like that, because that just kind of seems like a lot of effort to go through, and based off of everything, like it makes sense. Like they want to see how people are sort of feeling about this here. So it does really feel like, in terms of where this is going, in terms of a season 2 and all of that. And I've talked about it before. It is like a numbers thing. They want to see if fans want it. They want people to be happy. They want to see how people are sort of viewing it. Like, because that's the one thing. The numbers could be really amazing for the ones who live, right? But maybe it's because people are watching it and they're thinking that, well, it's because it's a one season thing. So if we do more, then maybe there's no point, right? So I think this question is important because they want to see, why are you watching this? How are you viewing the ones who live? Do you think it's just like a one season thing? Or do you think there's going to be more, right? So I think that's sort of their approach here with this. And I don't know about it becoming a regular series with 3+ seasons. That would be amazing. I would love that. But it seems like as of now, for sure, we should get at least one more season. And that's kind of, I think, again, when you're just looking at these 3 options here, like based off of where the story's going and all that, I think they could do one more season for sure. If, that's just sort of how fans are viewing it, and AMC is just wanting to give us, just, again, it comes down to the ratings and the numbers. Or people are wanting more and there's all this hype for everything and all of that, then I think they'll just keep continuing. Though, I don't know, I don't see the ones who live really being a regular series. Like, yes, that's an option on here. That would be amazing. And obviously it's not off the table, but I just think that, yeah, they're trying to see how fans are viewing it. And I imagine Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, they also want to know, how are fans feeling about this right now, right? And everyone is loving it right now. The Rick and Michonne reunion, it's such an exciting thing, but remember, that's the big part to all of this here. There needs to be a storyline besides that, right? Like, getting them together is awesome, but there needs to be a story besides that people really love. And, because you can't focus on the Rick and Michonne reunion for season 2 because they're already just going to be together, right? You can't focus on that if you're doing a season 2. So there has to be a really good story there. You have to take these risks. You have to do really crazy things to make the story exciting. That's what will keep people watching. Like, you have to get the fans that are just like casual fans, or people that are like just interested in watching a TV show, right? Like, they're not really a Walking Dead fan, but they like, interesting stories and stuff. Like, you have to get them sort of hooked. And how do you do that? Well, you just do really interesting storylines. You do crazy things like Rick losing his hand in the first episode, right? Stuff like that. Yes, comic fans and people who are like big Walking Dead fans are not going to like certain things like that. Although I like the decision to do that. I know a lot of people didn't, but things like that it makes the moment exciting. And I do think, I've been thinking about it a lot. I think Gimple is honestly the perfect showrunner for shows like this. Like, I know we don't like certain decisions that he makes and certain like story ideas, but he's very good at television, and in sort of like, again, it's cliffhangers. It's so interesting because I've always hated his use of cliffhangers, but like, he knows how to end an episode. I just think the issue with the way he did it before, and again, it's not like he's always been like bad at doing this, right? Like, obviously he did season 4, 5, and 6, really amazing seasons, the best seasons of The Walking Dead. Like, I really like season 9, but like overall people really like season 4, 5, and 6, right? So like, he did those seasons there. I just think that if there's not a lot of story to tell, making 16 episodes on a story where the pacing is so incredibly slow and then ending everything on a cliffhanger after that is just going to make the viewing experience so boring. And it's just going to feel like there's nothing there. And I think that's exactly what happened. And I think, Angela Kang took over and really fixed a lot of things because the pacing was like much quicker. Even though the story, it was sort of the same pacing as what The Walking Dead always kind of had. It was just much quicker and to the point, right? But you're looking at the spinoffs now, 6 episodes. I still think they can up the episode counts. Like, 6 episodes, I think works. But 8 episodes, I think, would be perfect. Because 6, it does work really well. But the issue with 6 is that there's little moments that I've noticed. Like in Dead City, there's like around episode 4, there's just more things that they could do there for the story to like explain things a little bit better. In Daryl Dixon, there was a little bit more they could have explained around that same point as well. There's just more things that they should do there to like sort of live with the characters a bit. And yeah, like 10 episodes, maybe that's way too much. But 8, I feel like is the perfect number. Just do 2 more episodes where you're focused more on character stuff and just, obviously do some more things with the story, add more to it. But that's, I think, really good in terms of, like building a really good story. So I think that, yeah, obviously this is really incredible here. And to see that the ratings are really, really good, it's very interesting. So anyways, yeah, I'll leave it here. I just want to do this video here talking about the ratings for the Walking Dead The Ones Who Live series premiere, and then talk about this survey that went out, because the survey is very interesting. It's like the first sort of, I don't want to say acknowledgement by AMC of whatever, but they're wondering why people are watching, or not why people are watching, but just how they're viewing this series in terms of seasons. Like, how many seasons do you think this show is going to have? And I do wonder. I hope everyone clicked the first option of it being a regular series with 3+ seasons, because I know if I saw that, I would vote that right away, because that's what I want. Honestly, I'm not viewing it as being a regular series. I'm still viewing it as being a limited series, but with like 3 seasons. So instead of 3 movies, it's 3 seasons. I would love it to be a regular series with like 5 seasons. Incredible. Honestly, I think it would just be the perfect way to end the Walking Dead universe. I'd be so happy with that, but I don't know if we're going to get that. So my hope is just like a limited series, because that's what they announced, with maybe like 3 seasons. I think that would be really, really cool. But anyways, post your thoughts down below on all of this here, the viewership and all that for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.